Hello and welcome back to Get Up and Game. My name is Josh, and in this video I'm going to be continuing the Entropic Ascension campaign, one of the contest winners from the Fantasy Flight campaign contest. In the last video we conquered Taskmaster with our Wasp leadership deck, and in this video we're going to be playing her Injustice, and we're going to be going up against Mysterio. So let's just jump right into it and read the story. So this is scenario 2B. Depending on a choice we made in the first one, we could have fought either Rhino or Mysterio, and we ended up with Mysterio. While you've managed to rescue some allies and prevent a loss of power to the city, new terrors begin to emerge. Illusions and the stuff of nightmares leers around corners, causing panic in the streets. People curl up on sidewalks as their own inner thoughts threaten to overwhelm them. You've seen this before. Quentin Beck, also known as Mysterio. You have no choice but to face your own inner fears as you hunt him down. It's not enough that fear has crippled the city. More attacks are springing across town. You can't let the people of the city suffer. Mysterio must be stopped. As the populace deals with their own inner hauntings, you realize a local building of your closest friends and allies is under attack as well. You have two options. So we could either choose A, strangers and acquaintances. It's a tough call, but you can't allow your personal feelings and relationships to get in the way of saving as many people as you can. If you choose this option, add City and Chaos to the encounter deck. Or Friends and Family. Your conscience pangs with regret, but you know you could not live with yourself if you let those closest to you get hurt. You will do everything to protect them while thwarting Mysterio. If you choose this option, add Down to Earth to the encounter deck. So, we have to decide if we want Rhino or if we want a bunch of criminals, essentially. And as far as the deck I built goes, I think either would be fine. So I don't know Nadia from the comics, but I'm going to guess she would want to save her friends and family. So that is what we are going to do. We're going to choose B, and we're going to need Down to Earth as our modular encounter set. So let me start getting that all set up. All right, I've got the Personal Nightmare shuffled in as normal for Mysterio, and I've got Down to Earth, the Standard, and the Expert encounter sets. We are going to try to tackle this one on Expert as well, and we're going to see how that goes. Now, when you face off against Mysterio, he starts with a Shifting Apparition in play. He starts with 2 threat on his main scheme and only goes up to 8. And then if we lose that one, there's a second one, and then if we lose that one, we lose the game. So before we continue the setup, I want to just quickly go through what I'm doing with my deck. So in the first game of this campaign, I focused Wasp mainly on her alter ego ability. I'm using this series as an opportunity to show off all the cool different ways that you can build Wasp decks. And in my opinion, they're all largely based on the different forms she has, her alter ego, her tiny, her giant, and then also just the fact that she's a form-changing hero. Gives you 4 different ways to go when you're building Wasp. But I do want to be very clear when I say that this alter ego action, girl, is the glue that holds Wasp together. So no matter what kind of deck you build for Wasp, in my opinion, you should always be trying to get to alter ego as often as you can to be taking advantage of this power, because it's one of the most powerful alter ego actions in the game. And it's the thing that really makes her special. So one of the reasons I'm doing this series is because I think a lot of people don't really like Wasp very much, and my guess is one of those reasons might be you aren't using this power enough. So if when you're playing Wasp and you're not trying to get to alter ego and shuffling in your best cards with a mental trait back in, try that, because I think that'll really help you enjoy Wasp more. It's such an important part of her design. Everything revolves around it. Her giant power is cool. Her tiny power is cool. But I think Wasp is really wanting to go to alter ego every other turn whenever possible to make use of this, which is one of the reasons why I said in the first video, she's really more of a multiplayer hero. This is harder to do in solo. We made it work in leadership, and we're going to be playing Injustice today, and we're definitely going to be able to make it work in Justice, but it's harder to do in protection and aggression in solo play, whereas in multiplayer, you still have plenty of opportunities to get to alter ego. So even though I am going to be focusing on the tiny form for the deck that I've built, we're still going to be going to alter ego a lot, because you should always be going to alter ego a lot when you're playing Wasp. Now, what does being in tiny form do for us? Well, her hero power is Small But Mighty. After she or an event she plays defeats a minion or side scheme, deal 1 damage to the villain. Now, that doesn't sound like much, and maybe it's not, But the fact that she's doing an additional damage on top of clearing up the board, which is what you want to be doing anyway, is just a good thing. And those little pings do add up over the course of a solo game. You get 4, 5, 6 damage out of that. That's basically a free event you got to play. That's not nothing. But that's not the only thing it means to be in tiny form. Pim Particles is a resource card that if you play it in tiny form, you get to draw a card. Now, Wasp's economy is really bad. She doesn't have any resource generators or any card draw to speak of outside of this. But this is nice to be able to spend this as a resource and still get a card back. So that's going to be really helpful for us. It also makes her attack events better. When she uses Wasp Sting in tiny form, it deals 5 damage. If she uses it in giant form, it only deals 4. Now, it can be divided among enemies, so situationally that might be better at times, but it does do more damage in tiny form. And she has 3 copies of Pinpoint Strike, which is a really exceptional big attack that deals 7 damage, but if you're in tiny form, it deals 8 with Overkill. So that's better than your average giant attack card, and it's likely to trigger your small but mighty, so it's actually going to end up doing a total of 9 damage, which is just really, really good. So being in tiny form affords us a lot of extra damage and card draw opportunities. So that's what we're going to focus on there. And speaking of card draw, this is a one way or another deck because I'm trying to make Wasp look good, and one way or another makes every hero look good. But I would posit that Wasp can make better use of this than some heroes simply because she needs it so badly. She desperately needs this card draw, so she can put this to really good use. And she wants side schemes because she deals damage when she clears them. We've got a skilled investigator to go along with it, of course. And then clear the area is obviously very good in solo, but it feels so good to play clear the area with the Pim Particles. You basically get to draw 2 cards. So that's just a really nice little synergy there. And we're going all in on damage. Even though this is a Justice deck, Wasp is really, really good at dealing damage, especially in tiny form. We're going to be getting the free pings. Her damage events do more damage. So we're going all in. We're bringing 3 Turn the Tides. So hopefully we're going to be clearing those side schemes and hitting Mysterio for 3 damage for doing it. And he doesn't have a ton of health, so it's not too hard to rush him down, even in Justice. And then we're playing Wasp, which means we're going to be seeing a lot of the same allies in every video because this is just how you should play Wasp. These are some really great allies that all have the mental trait that all just work so well with her that you can recycle them. That's what makes the girl power so powerful, is you get to recycle some of the best cards in the game. You can keep playing Professor X, you can keep playing Moon Girl, Ironheart, Nick Fury. And it's incredible. It's really what makes her good. So you want to be taking advantage of this to get the most out of Wasp. So of course I'm going to be bringing these probably in every deck I build for this series. And we're also going to grab Eros. He's just a really nice Justice ally with the mental trait. So if we wanted to shuffle him in, we could. And then again, really need to help Wasp with that economy. So you're going to want Ingenuity, a Helicarrier, and Quinn Carrier. Those are just really nice to get on the table. And then I'm mainly planning on just having her take the hits and then either going to Alter Ego and recovering or just trying to tank it. So we're going to have Endurance and Crew Quarters just to be healing us up or giving us extra health. We have 2 copies of the Power in all of us because we do have a decent amount of gray cards that cost more than 1, and we're going to be recycling them, so we should often be able to find a matchup for the Power in all of us. And it just works so nicely with Moon Girl because it counts as 2 mental. So I just love using it with her. And then the 3 doubles. So that's what we've got going on. We're going to be spending most of the game in either Tiny or Alter Ego, flipping back and forth, and trying to get as much extra damage out of Small but Mighty as we can. But really just, this is almost a rush deck, which is an unusual strategy for me, but it does just work so well with her. And it works well against Mysterio because he doesn't have a ton of health. So we're going to be prioritizing damage a little bit higher than usual and just using all the card draw and resources to make it happen. So that's the plan. Let me get my deck shuffled up, and then we can finish the campaign setup. Okay, now I've got my deck shuffled up, but as part of Mysterio's setup, we do need to shuffle the top card of the encounter deck into our deck. So let's go ahead and make sure that gets done before we forget. We'll shuffle that in. It's always tricky playing Mysterio because I can't look when I'm shuffling and makes it tough not to draw cards, but we're going to call that there. And now that we've done that, we can shuffle Nadia's Obligation into the encounter deck. It's going to be a lot of shuffling in this particular scenario. Mysterio's always shuffling cards into your deck. I'm going to be shuffling cards of my own back into my deck. And it's just going to be a whole bunch of shuffling for me to edit down to as short as possible. All right, now that we've got our deck set up, we draw our hand, and then after that, we'll do the campaign setup. All right, so let's see what we get. We got Wasp's Helmet. One way or another, you always want to see those early. Oh, Moon Girl opening hand, yes. Now, we do have to play this in Alter Ego, so the card draw from one way or another isn't going to help. So hopefully we get some really good cards to go with that. Professor X, a Wasp Sting. Well, my hand's full of mentals, so I could play Moon Girl and draw lots of cards. Okay, so this isn't too shabby at all. Yeah, I think I'm actually just going to keep everything except for the helmet because I can pretty much make all that work together. So we're going to mulligan the helmet and draw a giant help. All right, so that is our starting hand. We're going to hold on to that. Now setup is completely done. We can go into the campaign setup and get everything else done. So looking at the campaign setup, we have to do Public Outcry and Smear Campaign gets shuffled into the deck. So let's grab those real quick. Got the Smear Campaign is going to get shuffled in. Public Outcry is going to be on the expert side, so it's going to have 3 counters on it. Now we are playing the standard campaign, so I didn't have to carry over my health, but we're playing in expert mode, so I assume that Public Outcry is supposed to be on expert for the expert villain. And then Smear Campaign gets shuffled in, but I think some other cards are going to get shuffled in too, so I'm not going to shuffle that just yet. Yeah, it says we're going to choose a community service side scheme. And we didn't complete the one from the previous scenario, so we still have access to all 5 to choose from. And we're going to end up with Off the Rails. It says when the villain phase begins, place a speed counter here. If there are at least 2 speed counters here, remove this card from the game and discard the top 3 cards of each player's deck. Oh, that doesn't seem all that bad, though it does surge. So that's going to get shuffled in. So we'll go ahead and shuffle for now because I'm not really sure what's going to happen after this. All right, there we go. I did not read ahead, so I don't know everything that happens in this campaign, and I don't usually play campaigns, so I'm less familiar with how they set up and all the rules and stuff. So I'm trying to take my time, do it one step at a time. So now we follow all the setup instructions on the left side of the reputation track for any marked nodes, and then we do the same for the step. So we do, okay, so we're going to look at the nodes thing here. So we go down. So as part of the setup, we are supposed to shuffle in the state of emergency side scheme we got last time. That was the Feisty Heist. So that's getting shuffled in. And then, oh, we can actually take an extra mulligan and we get our fancy shield card that we picked last time, which was the Wrist Navigator. So we're going to have access to the Wrist Navigator. Now, that's going to be really nice for us because after a minion or side scheme enters play, this is going to get attached to it. And when it is defeated, we get to draw a card. So that's just one more thing we get to do. We get to do a free damage, and we're going to get to draw a card when we defeat minions and side schemes. So that'll be nice. And that's going to get shuffled in. We're going to get an extra mulligan. Now, the order of this is important. So we shuffle that stuff in, and then we follow all setup instructions on the left side, then do the same for the right. Oh, I see. These aren't setup instructions. This is just extra stuff I get to do, but these are setup. Okay, so yeah, that's just going to go into play, and then I could have done a second mulligan. Okay, that's fine. We can still, that's not going to change anything. So this is going to get shuffled in, and because we got 5 points last time, we're going to place an extra threat on the main scheme as well. Oh, that's unfortunate. It takes away my first turn clear the area play if I happen to draw one, but that's okay. So we're shuffling in that side scheme. And then I think that's all we've got so far, and it looks like we need to get about 4 more points before anything else happens. Okay. So I believe that is the end of everything. So we did that. Expert campaign, we're not playing expert, we're not playing, okay. If we were playing the expert campaign, we would also have to shuffle the top 2 cards of the encounter deck into our deck. I'm tempted to go ahead and do that anyway, because I wasn't not playing the expert campaign to avoid any of this stuff. I mainly just wanted to be able to change my deck because I wanted to show Wasp off in all 4 aspects. But I'm going to follow the rules to the letter as well as I can. So since we're not playing the expert campaign, we're just not going to use any of it. But if I were to play this again, I would definitely probably do the expert campaign because it is cool seeing those extra rules that you can do. So we could do a second mulligan then if we want to, but I don't think I want to actually, because I can just chuck these 3 for Moon Girl. I'm going to get to draw 3 cards, and then one way or another is probably going to lead into Professor X. So yeah, there's really no need to draw more cards, I don't think. And with that, I think we are ready to get started. So we do have this Shifting Apparition in play. It's a guard, and if you defeat it with excess damage, you end up having to put a card from Mysterio's deck into your deck. That's a thing that happens a lot if you've never seen Mysterio. He's all about putting cards from his deck into your deck, and he's really fun. He's one of my favorite villains. I actually just played him in Justice not too long ago in the 12 Plays of Christmas, but I still wanted to play Justice for this deck. Just felt like a good fit for the tiny form, which is what I wanted to feature next. So that's going to leave Protection and Aggression for the final 2 videos, and I'm still going to want to show off her giant form, as well as just using her more as a form flipping hero. You know, I really have a lot to say about Wasp, but I don't want to spend too much time here at the beginning of the game. But I guess one more thing I want to clarify. You know, when you play Wasp, you can absolutely flip from giant to tiny, tiny to giant if you want. You don't have to build for a form, but in my opinion, that is the way that it works best, because I think what you want to be doing is flipping from alter ego to one of the sizes and then back to alter ego. So if you're going from tiny to giant one turn, then you can't go to, you know, alter ego that turn. So going from tiny to giant doesn't really yield you any benefits like it does, say, if you're playing Ant-Man. You know, he gets rewarded for changing forms. She doesn't. Her cards work differently, but the actual act of changing forms doesn't do anything. So that's why I think it's best to build a deck that just focuses on one of the forms, so that you can go to that form and then back to alter ego as frequently as possible. Now, there might be times where situationally it's better to be in giant this game, and that doesn't mean I won't do it. I'll certainly take advantage of that if for whatever reason it seems like the better play, but the deck is designed to mainly be played from tiny form so that I can get back to alter ego frequently. So let's just start out by doing what I said I wanted to do. We're going to discard these 3 mental resources to bring Moon Girl into play. And since we paid for her with 3 mental resources, we are going to get to draw 3 cards. And I'm using tokens to denote exhausted and ready, so I'm still getting used to that, but I am really enjoying playing that way. So we're going to draw 3 cards. We get a Crew Quarters. Turn the Tide, that's nice. And the Power in All of Us, that is going to be very nice. Now there's nothing left to do in Alter Ego other than using the Girl Power if we want to, so we could shuffle 2 cards with the mental resource back into the deck. And I think I am going to grab Arrows and Wasp Sting. I'm perfectly happy to play both of those cards. So we're going to shuffle those back in. Plus it's just nice with all the card draw that I'm going to be doing. This will help slow me down from getting extra cards as quickly. Trying to be careful not to look, so that will be that. All right, so we've got those back in. And now we're going to flip to tiny form. And we're just going to lead off with a one way or another. So let's see what seems good. Oh, and I want to get in the habit of keeping that on the table in front of me so I don't forget to draw the cards. Trying to abide by the rules I placed for myself in my recent 5 tips for not screwing up so much video. And one of them is when you play cards, you're supposed to play them to the table anyway. It doesn't go right to the discard pile. And so I want to make sure I'm doing that. So looking for a side scheme. So we could take the Feisty Heist, discard the highest cost card from your hand. Well, that doesn't sound nice. Not interested. We could get Volunteer Work. We couldn't thwart it away, though. You have to do that in Alter Ego. Fool's Paradise is always tempting because you get +2 hand size, but you have to deal with a lot of other nonsense. And Weakness from Within would have a ton of threat on it. I think I should probably go get the campaign one because you get rewarded for clearing this. Now, it would surge, though. Oh, that is icky. But then I would get a extra point, I think, at the end. Oh, I don't really want a surge now, though. None of these are particularly, for being one way or another, none of these are very attractive options, which is a good thing because one way or another is probably a little overpowered. So I think we're just going to risk the surge because this will be the easiest one to get rid of. Yeah, okay, that's what we'll do. Make it challenging for ourselves, I guess. Hopefully it doesn't surge anything too awful. All right. So this comes into play with 3 threat on it, and then it surges, so we have to reveal a card immediately, which is, it's unusual to reveal encounter cards during the hero phase, but it is possible. And we're getting Deepest Fears. When revealed, discard cards from the top of your deck equal to the number of cards in your hand, and then we're either going to take damage or put threat on the main scheme. So I have 4 cards in my hand, so we're discarding Turn the Tide. Oh, this was... I was like, how did that? Oh, yeah, that's one of his cards, so that gets discarded. But the cool thing about that is because that got discarded from my deck, because of his main scheme, I actually get to draw a card. So I'm going to end up with an extra card. So that was 2, 3, we lose Nick Fury, and 4, a Clear the Area. Okay. So that wasn't terrible. Now, we didn't discard any identity-specific cards. So when that happens, we take a damage. I would actually prefer that anyway. So we go down to 10. So that was that. And now we draw our 3 cards with one way or another. And honestly, I could see myself forgetting that right there. So much other stuff just happened. I could see forgetting to draw the 3 cards. We're getting the Power in All of Us, Rapid Growth, and Ingenuity. Well, we can't play Ingenuity because you have to be a genius. Now, after a minion or size team enters play, we can attach this to it. And when it's defeated, we're going to get to draw a card. This is forced, so we actually have to do this. So the Risk Navigator gets attached off the rails, and then once that's completed, we will get to draw a card. All right, well, I think we're just going to go straight for that. Let's go ahead and exhaust Wasp, and we're going to exhaust Moon Girl first to remove 2 threat, leaving only 1, and then we'll have Wasp finish it off. Because it's important, we need Wasp to be the one clearing these things. So this is going to go to the victory display, and it doesn't have any when defeated anything or other, so that goes away. Risk Navigator, when the attached card is defeated, draw a card, and this goes back to our play area. So we're going to get to draw a card, getting the Biosynthetic Wings. When we defeat minions or side schemes, we get to remove a counter from Public Outcry. So that's 1 down of the 3. And whenever Wasp defeats a side scheme, we get to deal 1 damage. So I'm going to ping Mysterio for 1. And similar to when I played her in the 12 Plays of Christmas, I'm going to keep track of how many times that deals damage because I want to see how significant it was over the course of the game, how much it added up to. So that was a whole bunch of stuff that happened at once. I hope I remember to do everything. Actually, I do still also have a Turn the Tide in my hand. After Hero Thwarts removes all threat from a scheme, deal 3 damage to an enemy. I'm going to go ahead and play that as well to deal 3 more. So down to 13. Like I said, we're kind of prioritizing damage early and just going to bring them down as quickly as we can. So now that that is all done, we're going to use the Power in All of Us and a Rapid Growth to bring out Professor X, who of course will confuse Mysterio for us. Oh, you know what? I just remembered this guy as guard. We could not have used Turn the Tide on Mysterio, so instead I'll use Turn the Tide on the Shifting Apparition. And he was defeated with excess damage, so we have to shuffle the top card of the encounter deck into our deck. That's fine. I'm not too worried about that. I say now. It might be later if it's like Shadows or something, but yeah. So that is that, and that will take off another counter from Public Outcry. We're going to use Professor X to take all the threat off the main scheme, which will deal a damage to him. Going to use these 2 cards to get the Biosynthetic Wings out. That gives me Aerial, which I'm not worried about for this game, but it does allow me to exhaust this when I take damage, and I get to prevent 1 of that damage as long as I'm in Tiny form. And since I'm going to be in Tiny form for most of the game, hopefully that will do me some good. And then I'm actually going to hold on to these 2 because I'm definitely going to Alter Ego next turn, and I'll be able to use these to play Ingenuity and get that going as well. So I believe that is going to be the end of my turn. So we're going to ready everybody up. Oh, Moon Girl should have 2 Consequential on her. That's one of the things I'm still getting used to. Since I'm putting tokens on to exhaust them, that keeps telling my brain that I already put the damage on them because I'm confusing the tokens with the damage. So I need to remember to actually put the Consequential on there. And we're going to hold on to these cards and draw more money. Another Turn the Tide and more money. Oh boy. I put a lot of resources in Wasp decks because she needs them, and sometimes that's all you draw. So Maze of Mirrors is getting 1 threat. Mysterio is attacking us for 2 plus a boost. We're going to throw Professor X in front of that, and we need to keep an eye on his boost cards because if they have the illusion trait, they go on the bottom of my deck in his stage 2 form. So he's attacking for 2, 3, and this is an illusion. As a boost ability, he gets an additional boost card for this activation. So he's already attacking for 3. This is going to go on the bottom of my deck. 4, 5 total. This does not go, this doesn't have illusion. So this goes on the bottom of my deck. So we're getting quite a few of his cards into our deck already. That's not good. Professor X is defeated. We take no damage though. And now we're getting our normal encounter card plus 1 more for the public outcry. So this isn't a great start, and our hand isn't that good either. So hopefully this doesn't go too badly. So the first card is going to be Caught Off Guard. Oh yeah, we knew that. So I guess I really should have remembered. I really shouldn't have seen it in the first place. I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to actually look at these when you take them off your deck. You're supposed to just put them right into play. So I shouldn't have known anyway, but I did. So I probably should have remembered that when I was playing the Biosynthetic Wings. But that's okay. I can't choose the Risk Navigator because it's not because it's permanent. So there goes my wings. That was silly. He's gonna scheme. That's gonna eat us confused. That's unfortunate. Maybe I won't go to Alter Ego next turn. And Smear Campaign. So this is going to gain Surge. And then if Public Outcry is in play, it's getting 2 more counters. Wow, this is a rough start. So now I still have to get rid of 3 more things, of which I currently have no targets. Or I'm just going to keep getting extra encounter cards. This is going to be tough. And this gets removed from the game, thankfully. But it does surge into our 4th encounter card, Fearmonger, which is going to surge into our 5th card. Okay, I don't mind this too much. I discard my hand and drop to my hand size. I mean, I'm losing a lot of resources. That's pretty much all I'm losing. So we're going to draw 5 cards, Pin Particles, Rapid Growth, Arrows, Wasp Sting, and another one way or another. Okay, that's cool. But this is going to surge into Friends and Family. As an obligation comes into play. And as an alter ego action, I can discard an identity-specific card from my hand to discard that, and it makes all of my events in hero form cost 1 more. Yee. Oh, man, that was a really, really rough turn, because now one way or another is going to cost me 1 if I want to play it. Okay, well, let's see what we can do. All right, so I am still going to play one way or another. I'm going to use a Pin Particles to pay for it. So I'll get to draw another card at least. So we're going to play one way or another, and then I'll essentially get to draw 4 cards. And I have 3 cards left in my hand, and that's important because I'm pretty sure the card I'm going to grab, assuming I didn't lose it. Oh, it was going to be this one. Oh, no. I'm going to have to get probably a harder side scheme than I wanted to get. Well, so there's the volunteer work. That one only has 3 threat, but we have to do that in Alter Ego. And it's going to cost us resources. Or we can get Fool's Paradise, which is going to get us yet another extra encounter card. And Feisty Heist would make us discard the highest cost card from our hand, which would be the Wasp Sting. That wouldn't be the end of the world. And then that's only 3 to get rid of. So it's either do I want to discard Wasp Sting, or do I want to have to deal with volunteer work? I think I'd rather get rid of the Wasp Sting. So we're going to grab, oh, where'd it go? Feisty Heist. So that's coming into play. Then we're going to get to draw 4 cards. Yep. But I've got like 4 Mysterio cards in my deck, so that's not good. All right, so there's that. This comes in with 3 threat. When revealed, discard the highest cost card from your hand. That could be Eros or Wasp Sting. I think I'd rather have Eros as a potential option to play. So that's that. And then now we draw 1 card from the Pin Particles and 3 from one way or another. And the Risk Navigator is going to end up on that. Whew, there's a lot going on. So 4 cards, Helicarrier, Pinpoint Strike, Strength, and Ant-Man. All right, and then this gets attached to that, and when we clear it, we get to draw a card. Well, I'm going to need all of my tips and strategies to keep track of everything. Hopefully I don't make any mistakes in this game. I'm really hoping to play this campaign as cleanly as possible. I want to do it justice and show it off. I'm online friends with the author. I want it to be seen played correctly. So every event I want to play is going to cost 1 extra. I definitely need to keep that in mind. I don't know how many more events I'm going to be playing though, so maybe that won't be too bad. I think the first thing, we just want to get rid of that feisty heist. So we're going to use Wasp and, similar to last time, we're going to use Moon Girl to thwart it for 2, which that will cause her to leave play, but that's fine. I kind of want her jumping in and out anyway. So there's only 1 threat left on it, and then I'll use Wasp to thwart that. So that clears the feisty heist. So this goes away. Mysterio takes a damage from Small But Mighty. So that's the second one of those. And then this triggers and I get to draw a card. I get a Queen Carrier. And I think, and we get to take 1 off Public Outcry. That's good. We still don't have a way to get rid of the other 2 though. I need to make sure I keep a identity specific card in my hand if I do want to go to Alter Ego and get rid of that Friends and Family, and I feel like I really need to because that is just too crippling, that extra resource every time. So what I'm going to do is use Strength and Pinpoint Strike to bring in a Helicarrier. And then we're going to go ahead and use that Helicarrier, Ant-Man, and Arrows to bring in a Queen Carrier. So we got all kinds of money. Makes up for the Ingenuity I thought I was going to be playing this turn. And then we really need to get rid of this. So we're going to go back down to Tiny. And we're going to discard 1 identity specific card from your hand to discard this Obligation. That doesn't help with the Public Outcry though, unfortunately. And now I can use the Girl Power. Shuffle in 2 cards, probably Moon Girl and always Genius. Genius is always one of them. And I'm kind of tempted for Ingenuity, but I already have 2 others, so I'm fine there. Nick's another tempting one, but Moon Girl is just as good. She's a little cheaper as long as I play her in Alter Ego. Yeah, I think we'll just go with those. I don't think I want to be playing one way or another much more, so I'm not going to shuffle those back in. Yeah, let's go with that. So we're going to shuffle these back in. Oh, there's a lot of Mysterio cards in there. I'm not looking. Probably going to have a ton of encounter cards. This is going to be a rough villain phase. And the thing is, it's really hard to get established control of the game when you're constantly revealing 2, 3, 4 encounter cards. And we really need to get rid of this. This is causing us all kinds of trouble. All right, so we're decently set up with some resources if we can just kind of stabilize here, which we're stabilized now, but we're about to have a rough villain phase, I think. So we're drawing 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we only got 1 of them, so that's probably good. So we drew Ironheart, Red Room Training, Pinpoint Strike, Moon Girl's back, Pinpoint Strike, and clear the area. Okay. So we've definitely got some good options here for next turn, though we're going to be adding even more encounter cards, I'm sure. Going to the villain phase, this gets 1. Now, there's nothing I could do. He is just going to scheme against us. I think I forgot one of Mysterio's pings because I cleared that first side scheme. I killed the one minion that was here, the Shifting Apparition, and then I just cleared that side scheme. So I think I missed one of the triggers to deal damage, but it's too late now, but pretty sure he should have 1 more. Oh well. Like I said, it was really hard to keep track of everything. So he's going to scheme, hopefully for not too much, to 0, and it's not an illusion. So that could have been much worse. So this goes up to 4, and we're just going to have 2, 3 encounter cards. Ooh. Okay, first one is Threat or Menace. When revealed, you may change form. And then if you're in hero form, place 2 threat on the main scheme. So if we change to a hero form, that would go to 6 of 8. But then if you're in Alter Ego, you cannot change form. So if we stay in Alter Ego, we'll have to stay in Alter Ego next turn, which means we'll pretty much definitely lose the scheme. I don't really have a lot of cards I can play in Alter Ego to try to at least make the best of it. I think we better just go to Hero and put the threat on, which 2 more encounter cards makes me feel like we're probably gonna lose. Do I want to go to Alter Ego or Hero? Then I can't play Moon Girl. I don't have anything much, but you know what? I'm gonna risk it. I'm gonna stay in Alter Ego, and then I just have to stay in Alter Ego next turn. And we're just gonna do our best. So that is that card. The next one is Under Fire, so we're getting 2 more cards. Good old Expert. Induce Panic, attached to your identity. I can't resolve triggered abilities in my Heroes Print text box. And I have to discard an identity-specific card at random to discard that. Well, okay. There's worse things. At least we're already in Alter Ego. Exhaustion. Okay. That's going to surge into a Shifting Apparition. Finally, hopefully our last card is going to surge, because we're in Alter Ego, into a Common Criminal, which is going to surge. What is happening? Into Deja Vu. So either need to take a damage or place a threat. I'm going to take the damage, and then this is going to get shuffled in. Oh my goodness. Boy, sometimes I feel like Mysterio, you get a pretty variable. Sometimes I fight Mysterio and it's so easy, and sometimes he just goes nuts. And this is feeling like one of those nuts games. All right, not looking, but I know there's so many cards in here. Definitely going to be seeing them. Oh my gosh. I don't even know where to start. Well, we have to stay in Alter Ego form this turn. And the Risk Navigator should have attached to the Common Criminal come out first. I think so. When a minion or side scheme enters play, attach Risk Navigator to it. Oh, and then it would, I think it just keeps moving, because that response would just keep triggering. So I'm pretty sure now it's on the Shifting Apparition. Hopefully I'm doing that right. I've never played with these Shield Tech cards. So we have to discard one of these at random, identity specific cards, which is fine because I don't really care about any of them right now anyway. It doesn't really matter which one it is. It's a Pinpoint Strike, sure. That gets rid of that. So now we could use GRL if we wanted to. We are going to use the Quinn Carrier and these 2 mental resources to bring out Moon Girl. So we're going to draw 3 cards. Getting Giant Help, Wasp saying all these events we can't play. And yeah, just spitting out our encounter cards and getting Genius. So we're going to use these 2 cards to bring out Ironheart. So that's going to let us draw another card, which is going to be a Clear the Area, so it's not something we can use. We're trapped in Alter Ego. Now, one thing we can do, and now I'm looking at it, I wish I'd have done it earlier in the turn, but we can do the Alter Ego action on Common Criminal by discarding or spending a Punch resource, the only one in our hand, to deal 3 damage to the Common Criminal. And if it's defeated this way, choose either draw a card or remove 3 threat. Well, I'm going to draw a card. That's why I should have done it earlier to see what my options were. Just another card I can't play. So I got a handful of cards I can't use now. All right, we're going to use GIRL to shuffle something back in. Don't think I want to do much more one way or another, because that's just... There's not any good targets left for that. We're definitely going to want the Professor in the near future, and probably just Nick Fury, right? Let's just get our heavy hitters. Try to help us recover. So shuffle those in. At least all the Mysterio cards are gone, though we're going to have yet another terrible encounter phase. Now, we did defeat the Common Criminal, so that takes this off. I think we're going to be able to get rid of this turn, which is nice. So we took care of that. And then we can actually use Ironheart. Oh, this is cool. We can use an Ironheart to defeat the Shifting Apparition, and that won't be using excess damage, so we don't have to get a card back. That's nice. Risk Navigator goes off, and we get to draw another card from that, which is another card we can't use right now. Oh, man. But that will get rid of the public outcry. So that's gone. Goes to the victory display. So we have 2 victory points. That's cool. And we won't be getting any more extra encounter cards from that. So just kind of organize my area a little bit, I guess. Now we still have Moon Girl. Should probably have her thwart and attempt to not lose the main scheme. And that is what we're going to do. So she's going to take 2 off of here. So it's at 2 of 8. It's going to go up to 3. He's going to scheme for at least 2, 5. So we could still lose it if he gets a boost of 3. But we're going to try to hold on to it. I think getting rid of the public outcry really helped. We have these out, so we just need maybe 1 more turn. We can turn things around here, but we're going to have 3 more of these, so I don't know. And we have to win to move on in the campaign, so really want to get a win here. So we're drawing... Oh, we're going to have another card from this, too. Oy. Well, we're drawing these 3, getting another encounter card. Shuffling up just real quick. Okay. So we've got Skilled Investigator, Nick, and Professor X. Turn the Tide, Rapid Growth, and the Power in All of Us. Well, that's going to be nice. We'll definitely be able to play Nick, draw some more cards. Professor X, maybe Turn the Tide if we can clear the scheme. Okay, well, we'll see what happens. We got a lot of cards before we can make any kind of plans. So this goes up to 3 of 8. He is going to scheme for 2. And then this gets revealed. So now we have to either take a damage or place a threat. We're going to take the damage. I think we're less concerned about damage, at least so far. Ironheart is ready. And then this is going to get shuffled in, of course. So he schemed for 2, so that's going to go up to 5. I'm telling myself that now so I don't forget by the time I'm done shuffling. Dang it. I'm so bad at shuffling, especially when I'm not looking at the deck. All right. So this is going up to 5. That could have been way worse. But we're going to have 4 encounter cards. Oof. First one is a Common Criminal. Navigator goes on it, and that surges into Volunteer Work, which I think the Risk Navigator just switches over to that. Yep, looks like it. So that one's not too bad. Comes in with 3. And we got to spend some resources to get rid of it, but it's just an acceleration, so I don't know how much I care about that. Masterful Mirage. Okay, this is going to protect him. Gives him +1 scheme as well. And we need to ping that away before we can start damaging him. It's going to take 4 cards off our deck. Yeah, we're going to start seeing a lot of these deja vus. We have 1 card left. Kind of tempted to put a threat on now, but that's going to put it at 6 of 8, which means if he were to scheme, it would guarantee that it would pass. And he's got 1 advance gone. I'll take the damage one more time at least, down to 7. One thing about going to Alter Ego a lot is you can recover a decent amount. All right, going to be seeing that for the rest of the game, and I think we have 2 of them now. And hopefully, finally is... Oh, here comes the Fool's Paradise. All right, let me kind of move everything over here. That comes in with 6 threat, which is just so much. That does give us some extra hand size, but also an acceleration and a crisis and a hazard, so... I don't know if that qualifies as an easy villain phase, allowing us to stabilize or not. Oh, shoot. When I drew my hand, I screwed that up. Dang it. So I forgot I still had all these cards in my hand because I just moved right on. So I can tell you I was definitely... Well, we'll say I discarded all of them. That's really the only fair way. It's the best I can do. So we'll say I discard all of them at the end of the phase. They would have gotten shuffled in. So I might have drawn some of these, but that's the best I can do. I didn't see him set off to the side. Sorry about that. Not a huge deal, though. I was going to keep the Genius and the pin particles though, so that does make me sad. But yeah, I was like, why do I have two hands? Oh man, I have one on the left and one on the right. So yeah, we'll just have these and get going from here. Ironheart should have a damage. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is play Nick to see what my options are. So I'm going to use the Helicarrier, a Power in All of Us, and a Rapid Growth for 4 resources to bring Nick out and kind of figure out where I want everything. So I'll put him right here. It's going to let me draw 3 cards, get Pin Particles, Turn the Tide, and Genius. Pretty much all those cards I just discarded. Apparently I shuffled them to the top. Not on purpose though, that's just how it happened. And then some of the stuff we have to deal with, if we want to, we can punch the Common Criminal to either draw a card or remove 3 threat, and we could spend some resources to clear that volunteer work. The sad thing is clearing the stuff in Alter Ego is not giving me small but mighty pings, which, you know, is kind of what I'm trying to showcase here. Not that the small but mighty is just a part of her being in tiny form though, it's also her events play really well, so it's not just that. All right, I think we're going to ignore the volunteer work for the moment. I'm going to use the Quinn Carrier to generate a punch resource to spend on this to deal 3 damage to him, and then I'm going to remove 3 threat from a side scheme. We're going to take 3 off of Fool's Paradise. I do not want that sticking around, so we're going to do that. We're going to have Moon Girl thwart 2 more off of it while we're still in Alter Ego because I want her to go to my discard pile. Now we're going to leave that alone for a second. And as much as I want to use Genius in Alter Ego, I think I'm going to hold on to it because I want to use it in the hero phase. So, or in hero form. So I'm just going to shuffle in Moon Girl. It's just so nice when you can keep shuffling Genius back in, but I don't think it's the best thing to do right now because I'm going to play the Professor, but I also have a Pin Particles in my hand and I want to use that too, so I want to draw a card. So I need to be in tiny form for that. So I can always shuffle Genius back in later. Okay, so that is that, and I think I'm done in Alter Ego. So, oh, do I want to recover? No, because, yeah, no, not going to recover. Now, a whole bunch of things are about to happen, hopefully. We're going to use Wasp to finish off the Fool's Paradise. So this goes to the victory display. I'm going to get to draw a card with the Risk Navigator, which is Ingenuity. Well, bad timing for that. That is going to let me ping Mysterio with the Small But Mighty. So that is actually going to deal damage to this, which is going to discard that, so I lose 4 cards. The first one is one of his, so I actually get to draw the next card. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4 cards were discarded, and I drew a Pinpoint Strike. And is there anything else that happens? I think that's everything. No, it's not, because I also was going to play 2 Turn the Tides for clearing side scheme. That's going to be 6 damage. Bringing him down to 9. Oh, and all of that stuff was responses, so I could do them in any order I wanted. So I could trigger the Small But Mighty first to get rid of the Masterful Mirage, and then I could play the Turn the Tides afterwards. So that was 6 damage to him. I think I'm done responding to all of that. I'm going to use Genius and Pin Particles to play Professor X. So I'm going to get to draw a card with Pin Particles. Professor X is going to confuse Mysterio. Technically, he got pinged again, even though it hit the Masterful Mirage. It still counts as a ping in my book. So he's up to 3, but I'm pretty sure he should be up to 4. So that's 4 free damage already over the course of the game. That's pretty nice. And I'm drawing a card for Pin Particles, getting one way or another. Oh, I don't know about that. I don't think I want to do that. All right, well, of course, we're going to have the Professor thwart the main scheme back down to 2. We can't thwart a volunteer work. You have to use the Alter Ego action on that. But it's just an acceleration, so if I don't ever get rid of it, I'm not too worried about it. It doesn't have victory points or anything. And then Mysterio is at 9, so what I'm going to do is we're just going to go ahead and push him. I'm going to use Ironheart to deal 1 damage to him, bringing him to 8. And then we're just going to play a Pinpoint Strike. Since we're in tiny form, it deals 8 damage. So that is going to finish him off. So Ironheart brought him to 8. That brought him to 0. So we're going to flip him. And he comes in with 16 hit points. He's going to discard the top 5 cards on my deck. And then otherwise, now if he resolves a boost card with the illusion trait, it goes on the top of my deck. And I hope I haven't forgotten that wrinkle of him. I think I've taken all the illusion cards. Whew, I'm so paranoid about missing stuff. I really hate making mistakes. So he goes up to 16. And now I have to discard the top 5 cards in my deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I was really sure I was going to hit. I assume I still have some Mysterio cards. I've kind of lost track. So that was that. So now we're back to us, and I think I'm just going to use Nick to... I'm tempted to just punch him and just go all in on damage, because Wasp can finish somebody off really quickly. Now, how much damage is left in our deck? There's 1 Pinpoint Strike, 2. She has 3 of them. So there is still a Pinpoint Strike and both of our Wasp stings. So there's a lot of damage we could potentially draw. So I think it's probably more valuable to just put the 2 damage on him, which is what I'm going to do. So down to 14. And Nick takes a damage for that. Okay. I think we're going to call that the turn. Got 1 card that came from somewhere. I don't remember. I assume it spit out of my deck at some point. I'm drawing 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can see a Mysterio card in there. I know I'm not supposed to, but I did see it, so I know there's at least 1 in there. And we have Nick and Professor as blockers. Okay. So Ant-Man, Crew Quarters. We did get a Wasp sting, and really not much else, and no way to draw more cards as it stands now. So, okie dokie. So Maze of Mirrors is going up to 4. He's attacking. We'll block with Nick. So attacking for 2, 3, 4. It is not an illusion. So Nick goes down. And we just have 2 cards. It's going to be a Deja Vu. Oh yeah, I probably should have known that. We're going in... I'm at 7. He's confused, so even if he got a scheme, it wouldn't hurt us. I would like to not have to thwart this turn. I'm going to take the damage. I'm not worried about health. I don't have to carry it over till the next game or anything. That makes such a big difference in the campaign play. Really worrying about your health. So that is definitely an easier way to play this, not worrying about it in the standard version. Okay, that's that. And that didn't surge or anything. And we get, another one of these. So that's going to eat another of our damage. All right, Professor goes away. And it is back to us. I was really hoping something would come out that I could attach the Risk Navigator to, so that I could at least draw a card. Because as it stands now, my hand isn't that great. I think what we're going to do is use the Helicarrier and the Quinn Carrier, as well as a Pin Particles and a Crew Quarters to play Ant-Man. And when we are in tiny form, he has +1 thwart, so he's thwarting for 3. So let's go ahead and do that. Take 3 off the main. Trying to decide if I want to use Wasp to ping off that Masterful Mirage or recover when I flip down, because I am going to flip down. Mysterio's confused. Oh, and I draw a card with the Pin Particles. Don't forget that. I get a one way or another. Dang it. Let's see what's left. So the Feisty Heist is gone. weakness from within. So Fool's Paradise is in the victory display. The campaign one's in the victory display. Down to Earth volunteer work is in play. I don't think there's any left, even if I wanted one. I'm pretty sure that's all of them, so not going to play it. So just going to ping him for 1 with Wasp to get rid of this, which is going to do 4 cards. 1, 2, this comes out so I get to draw a card. So that was 3. Oh, Moon Girl, that's cool. And this is the 4th one, clear the area. Okay. So that is that. Man takes a damage. Yeah, these tokens, I'm really having a hard time remembering the consequential. I am catching it, but it always takes me a second. All right, we're gonna flip to Alter Ego. We're gonna use these cards to bring out Moon Girl. That is gonna be 3 mental resources. So we're gonna get to draw 3 cards, getting Strength, a Giant Help, and clear the area. Nothing I can play in Alter Ego, which is fine. It's just getting us closer to our damage, I guess, because he's at 14. Wasp can easily do 14 damage, so we just need to get a good hand and then flip up and kill him. That is the plan. Now, playing the campaign, it would be nice to have no threat on the main, no side schemes in play, no minions in play. I don't know if that's going to happen, but speaking of that, since we're in Alter Ego and we don't care about the stuff in our hand anyway, we're going to use these 2 resources to do the Alter Ego action on volunteer work. Spend 2 resources of any type. Move threat from the scheme equal to your recovery, which is 3. So that is going to clear this, actually. And we don't get to draw a card because we're not a civilian, but at least that's not on the table anymore, and we don't get to ping him because we're not in Tiny. All that's fine. At least we got rid of that. And we're going to shuffle in 2 cards, and they are going to be Pinpoint Strike and Pinpoint Strike. We are going for the kill. And hopefully we survive this villain phase. I mean, we should. We're at 6 health, and there's still a whole second main scheme. But this has felt like a real battle, like just resolving so many encounter cards, giving us so many things to deal with every turn. It's been a lot of fun just beating up on everything. And a couple small mistakes along the way, but I don't think it's anything that's really affected the outcome of the game. And I have a Strength and a Wasp Sting in my hand, and I'm really tempted just to hold on to both because I definitely going to want to play that. And then if I get a Pinpoint Strike, that's pretty much game. So, oh, especially because I can attack him with Moon Girl for 2. So he's down to 12. So really should have this, but we got to see what this encounter phase is going to bring. So yeah, I'm going to hold on to the Wasp Sting and the Strength just because we're going to need something to pay for all these cards with. And let's see what happens. So holding on to these 3, 4. Where's all that damage I just shuffled in? Oh, got 1. Okay, I think that should be enough. And we didn't draw any more encounter cards. Great. So this is just going up to 2. He wants to scheme, but he cannot. And then we just have 2 cards, but could be anything with Mysterio. He does so much crazy stuff. We get yet another Deja Vu. We're going to go ahead and take that as damage in the hopes of maybe clearing the main before we win the game to get an extra victory point thingy, whatever those are called, the nodes. Reputation, I think. Shuffling this in real quick, not looking. There's like more encounter cards than not. And then Common Criminal is going to surge. The Risk Navigator goes on to that. That's pretty fun. That's a fun mechanism. That thing jumping around. I've been enjoying that. And he surges into an evil doppelganger. Hey, I said it right on the first try. Plus X is going to have some boosted stats. Okay. Well, now we have some stuff to kill if we want to get that extra node point reputation thingy. But we did survive, so now it's just a matter of how we want to handle this. All right, first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to shuffle in more damage. We're going to grab a Wasp Sting and and a Genius to help pay for it. So I should be able to draw at least a couple cards here. And so hopefully get more of what we want to see. All right. Somehow, I promise I'm not looking. I keep expecting to shuffle an encounter card right to the top. And somehow it keeps not happening. I promise I'm not looking. All right, so now that those are in there, we are going to use the Quinn Carrier, generate a punch resource. So we're blowing up this common criminal from the sky. It's defeated, so we get to draw a card, move 3 threat from a side scheme. We're going to draw a card. We're also going to draw a card with the Risk Navigator. Oh wait, no, that should have moved. That would have moved here. Okay, that's fine. We still get to draw a card with Common Criminal into, okay, there's the Genius. Now, there's nothing left to do in Alter Ego, I don't think. So we're just going to flip up. We're going to use a Genius to pay for a Wasp Sting. Since we're in tiny form, it's going to deal 5 damage to the evil doppelganger, which is fine. There's nothing special there. So that is going to deal 1 damage to Mysterio from Small But Mighty, which is 4, but I'm pretty sure it's 5. Pings there. Risk Navigator draws us a card into a Pinpoint Strike. We're going to have Moon Girl clear the main. So she's going to go away. And now there's nothing left to do but finish it off. Just use the Helicarrier and Strength to play a Pinpoint Strike for 8 damage, bringing him down to 3. And just these 3 resources for another Pinpoint Strike, bringing him to 0. Whew! That was a battle. That was an absolute blast. Now, before going to the campaign stuff, I played 3 practice games with this deck against just regular Mysterio without any of the campaign stuff, because I didn't know what the modular was going to be, and I didn't have like the extra stuff. Oh, speaking of that, I think I was supposed to have these guys in my deck. I didn't see that in the... Did I just miss that somewhere? I guess they were just supposed to be added to my deck overall. I was expecting there to be setup instructions telling me to put them in from this game. I think the last one just told me I could include them. So we'll just say I chose not to include them. I had them there ready to go, ready for the campaign instructions to tell me to put them in. I rescued these guys last game, and the campaign didn't tell me to put them in, and then I forgot they were sitting there. But that's fine. I'm pretty sure that was optional, so no big deal. And that only would have helped me. They're so good. So I need to remember that those are... I'll put them in my deck now. Well, the problem is I'm rebuilding my deck every time, but I'll put them there. Hopefully I remember to put them in next time. So that would have been fun to have those guys in there. But anyway, as I was saying, I just happened to see those off in the corner. I played some practice games just against regular Mysterio because I wanted to make sure this deck was good, and I was absolutely crushing him. So I knew the deck was pretty solid. This was quite a bit more of a struggle, just having to deal with a lot more. You know, every game plays differently, of course, but I think the modular was harder than the one he normally has. And then, of course, there was some extra campaign stuff, the public outcry and all that. So definitely felt harder in campaign mode, which was cool. And always happy to get a win against Mysterio and Expert. And always happy to get a win with Wasp in solo. She is really, really fun to play. I hope this showed, you know, Mysterio, I'm pretty sure took at least 5 damage from Small But Mighty, so that's not nothing. And then just, it's always about the girl power. But also, you know, we did a lot of Pinpoint Strikes and Wasp Stings in tiny form. Very useful. There was never really any time I'd think that the giant form would have been that much more beneficial. I think it really was good to spend this one in tiny form the way I built the deck. And that makes such a difference with her. Like, you can just build her so many different ways. It's just awesome. I'm going to be talking about that a lot in every one of these videos, so I don't want to say any more about it now. So that's that. Let me get some stuff out of the way. I should have been cleaning this stuff up the whole time I was talking about all that stuff.
So we still had another Deja Vu and another Deja Vu in the deck. Get all this stuff out of the way. Get the campaign, find out what's going to happen next. All right,
so victory. Using the condition section, calculate your group's total reputation value. Then mark that number of nodes. So let's do that first. My Mary Jane's Farm magazine here. It's my wife's, I swear. So we have victory points in the victory display. We do have Public Outcry, Fool's Paradise, and Off the Rail. So that's 3 from that. No Minions in Play is 4. No Side Schemes is 5. No Threat in the Main Scheme is 6. No Accelerations is 7. And No Defeated Identities is 8. So that's awesome. So we get 8 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we actually got down to this. So let's read these. So let's say they mark that number of nodes. Okay. Each player chooses an aspect card in their collection from any aspect and adds the maximum number of copies of that card by title to their deck for the rest of the campaign. Record the title of that card and their aspect. Oh, interesting. And that doesn't count towards my deck size. From any aspect and adds the maximum number of copies of that card by... Wow, that seems really good. What card? Now I'm going to think about this for a second. I'm still going to be playing a game in aggression and in protection. So I guess I should probably choose something from justice or leadership. Oh, man. So immediately I just think either 3 make the calls or 3 clear the areas. I'm just going to grab 3 clear the area. I'm just going to do clear the area. That's just so useful. It's so good. It's going to be really nice in the protection game and in the aggression game, actually. Yeah, that's going to be good. So we are going to write that in the aspect advantage section.
Gonna be clear the area.
Sorry if that's a boring choice. It's just such a good card. I'm going to want it in those next 2 games. And then what else is happening now? In player order, each player must search the encounter deck and discard off for a minion and put that minion into play for each player who did not do. Okay. So we're going to be starting with an extra threat and an extra minion. But we're going to have 2 mulligans. We're going to have 3 free clear the areas. And I guess we just always get this state of emergency side scheme in every game. We're not adding like new ones, it looks like. And I'm not reading ahead. So I think that's... Oh, and we got to this last one. Each player flips her... Oh, cool, we get to flip our card over. What does that do? Oh, this is so exciting. This is really making me want to play more campaigns because this stuff is cool. But I'm also playing these games pretty close together. Sometimes, well, it was really more back before I started the channel. I didn't always get to play, a lot. So I'd play one game and then maybe like a week later I get to play another. And then I'm like, I don't feel like playing this campaign anymore. I want to do something different. But now for the channel, it shouldn't be too hard. Anyway, so we flipped it over to still just Risk Navigator. It's enhanced. And it does the same thing. But now we get to draw 2 cards and discard a card. Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool. And we just got that too, so that really worked out. 'Cause otherwise, we would have only gotten that for 1 game, but we're going to have it for the next 2 games. That is so nice. Okay, cool. So we did that. So in the campaign log, yep, let's get that handy. If the campaign, sinister motives, side scheme, yes, we did complete Off the Rails. So now we write that, so that will
be one of the options. I capitalize that. All right.
So that is that. If a group chose a stranger, which one did we choose? We chose friends and family.
If a group chose friends and family, record wrapped weapons on line 3 of the criminal plots section. I wonder if that's supposed to mean crime wave section. Because I don't see anything marked criminal plots. So we're going to say that is probably just meant to say crime wave. Wrapped weapons and contraband on line 4. Okay. Raft weapons. I'm really excited to find out what these things mean. And contraband. Okay.
It's very exciting. Watch me write this stuff down. I'm sure I'm trying to get through this part quickly. And record City Cries for a Savior on line 5.
Okay. City Cries for a Savior.
Proceed to scenario number 3. And then if we were playing expert, that would care about our hit points, which would have only been 5. But we are not doing that. So I think hopefully I've got everything done correctly here. It's a shame I forgot to use those allies, but not that big of a deal. I definitely would have been nice to have them, but oh well. So that was game 2. Things are going very well. I'm very excited to play with the upgraded Risk Navigator and to see, let's see who the third villain is. I've been very careful with these papers. I've only been grabbing what I need. My wife printed them out for me, so I didn't see them. So I want to experience this as blind as I can. And so the next villain, find scenario 3. So there was one was Taskmaster, 2A, so we could have played Rhino. Now, oh, Claw, nice, going back to the core set. Okay, I love Claw. I'm not going to look at anything else. I don't know what the modulars are going to be and stuff like that, but we're going to be facing against Claw. And then we just have to decide if it's going to be in protection or aggression. And I'll tell you now, my thinking has been this. Mary Jane, get out of here. My thinking has been this, because I know I'm going to have the hardest time winning in aggression. Probably. I mean, maybe I could just build a better deck than I did in the 12 plays, but my thinking has been, you know, you have to win to proceed in the campaign. So just save aggression for last, because even if we lose the campaign, at least we got to see the whole thing. So I was kind of assuming I was going to save aggression for last, and then, you know, so that would make protection next. But I'll tell you what, having those 3 clear the areas in my deck gives me a lot more confidence in both of those aspects, especially aggression. So now that I have those, it's not a foregone conclusion of what I'm going to do. I'm going to do aggression in giant form, and protection is going to be the flipping deck. I think that's what I'm currently thinking anyway. That could go both ways. You could definitely do either one, and you could do that, you know, in any of these. This wasn't necessarily aspect specific. Like, it's not that tiny form works best with justice. You know, it works pretty well with aggression too. That was just the way I chose to do this one. And giant form definitely works very well in justice or aggression, because it allows you to spread out your basic attack. I always have such a hard time opening this. Spread out your basic attack and your basic thwart, and then, you know, that works well for thwarting and for attacking. Though in solo, maybe it's a little bit better for attacking, trying to take out a bunch of enemies at the same time. I don't know. But my point is, just because I played the forms in these aspects, I'm not saying that these aspects are the right way to play these forms. This was just how I chose to do it. So, because I actually did aggression in tiny form last time. So you can make them work with any aspect. That's just kind of the direction I'm going for this particular series. So, love Wasp. She's awesome. I hope so far, 2 games in, I've shown cool things you can do with her. You are going to see a lot of Professor X and Nick Fury. But, you know, that's just, why wouldn't you, right? When you have access to them and you can play them over and over again with this, why wouldn't you do that? You'd just be hampering yourself, and I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to make her look strong, and those are the cards that make her strong. So that is how that's going. And so, yeah, we're going to wrap it up here. I thank you so much for joining me. We've got 2 more. This has been really, really fun. I'm really enjoying the campaign. Great job, Carl. Getting the cool stuff is fun. I'm looking forward to seeing what's next. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next time we get up in game. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.